Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. Hi ladies, how are you? It's been a minute. I haven't done a podcast episode actually for a few weeks now because I've been really poorly. It's been one thing after the other. And obviously since I had COVID, it always goes straight to my chest. It really affects my voice and it really affects me energetically. And obviously when I'm recording podcast episodes, I try and get into like a really high vibe state, stay in flow. I'm probably the worst podcaster because I never have notes or a script or anything. I just kind of let myself get into flow really and then start talking, which is great. So like I say, it's taken me a couple of weeks to recover. I'm feeling a little bit better, but more inspired actually, because I just did a coaching session inside the Fempreneur Society all around like the first quarter goals and how I wanted to, a lot of the ladies were feeling like maybe they hadn't hit their goals, they'd lost a bit of momentum in their business, all the things that they kind of said that they were going to do, they haven't yet hit those milestones. And when everything feels like it's going wrong in your business, or when you are just feeling absolutely burnt out, the best thing that you can do to rectify that situation, to completely transform your results and quantum leap your success is nothing. Quite literally, that is the best thing to do for you right now if you're feeling any of those things. So I kind of shared with them, I had also been feeling a little bit like that. I've got to be honest, like the beginning of the year, I started with a very crystal clear plan of what I was going to be doing, where my business was going. And as I've started moving through the doing, working with different clients, I'm a person that very much gets inspired by others. And I've realized that some of the things that I did, I thought I wanted to do, I now don't. Other things have kind of moved forwards as a priority. So I'm looking at launching my six-figure sisterhood mastermind in the next quarter, which wasn't necessarily something that I was planning to do right now, but it feels right because as I'm sort of, speaking with more and more women, and I still feel like so cool to help the women that are in startup mode and are, need that help and support and coaching to get their business out into the world, to make it profitable, to do all of those things, which is the purpose of the society. But I also feel that even the women that seemingly have it all right now, actually, that do have a business that's making money, there's still so much that can be done to really pull them into a sisterhood and a mastermind container where we can help each other to even more so 10x that result, and also even more so feel more aligned, feel more successful, more satisfied, more joyful, like all of those great things. And I think even more so at the moment, like women need to stick together and support each other in those business goals and endeavors. So that's why I've kind of come to the realization that actually something that I thought I would be launching in the second half of the year, I need to bring it forwards now because I think there's a need for it. So I'm super excited about that. But obviously, that wasn't on the plan. So trying to sort of work on that in the background and do the practical things that it takes to create something like that, as well as everything else that I'd already committed to and had on my plans, it can be a lot. And I think a lot of us, or certainly in the society and with clients when I'm speaking to them, are feeling like either work is more than we thought it was going to be, or things just haven't panned out as they thought they were going to be, and therefore we've lost a bit of momentum and a bit of enthusiasm for our businesses, and it all just feels a bit meh. Like very few of my ladies, and I don't know if that actually relates to like the energetic year as well, so I need to look into this, but I do believe as well that as women, I need to speak to my immunology sisters, but definitely when it comes to our own cycles and menstrual cycles, personal energetic cycles, like for me, coming into spring feels really exciting. Like I just feel completely rejuvenated as a person, but before that happens and before Easter, it's almost like my energy dips, and I think that's why I've been sick for the last couple of weeks. It's almost like energetically and subconsciously, my business is telling my business, my brain is telling me to slow down and to retreat. And that's essentially what I'm now going to be doing over Easter with the kids. So other than I do have a couple of commitments that I will be obviously seeing through and ticking along, but I will be using this time to really like rest, recharge, reflect, and do nothing, essentially, nothing practical, nothing that's going to commit me to any period of time. There'll be little bits that I can take along and do, but really it's giving myself permission to take this 2 weeks off with my children, and maybe for you that means taking time off and going on holiday, or just even just reconnecting with yourself. It's so important to do that. Obviously, when you're stuck in the hustle and grind, I absolutely relate to that, because that was my reality before lockdown. I went straight from corporate, went into owning my own business, and I almost made it a job in itself. It's like I needed that validation of hustling, of being in it 24/7, of feeling that I was in control of my own destiny, and convinced myself that it couldn't possibly run without me. And I just made myself busy. But what I realized was that being busy and being successful are two very different things. It is not the same thing. So if you're very busy right now, but you're not getting the results that you need to do, that you want, maybe the answer isn't to do more, it's to do less. And that's where the power truly is. I think as a woman in business, it's really tapping into that intuition, that inner voice, inner guidance, your feminine energy, creative solutions, and really taking a moment to see what is coming up for you. Like what feels good, what doesn't, what are you kind of, almost pushing water up a hill with right now? Like what are you not getting momentum in that you feel like you should be, but perhaps it's because it's not the right thing for you? Like I really feel quite passionately when I moved into coaching, that I would never teach people or women cookie cutter approaches to building their business. And I wouldn't do what every other coach was doing at that time, because I really believe as women, we are such powerful creatures. We have untapped wisdom and intuition that if only society would allow us to use more, like the world would be a very different place if it was run by intuitive, empathetic women, empowered women, who were making big money. That's essentially my life's purpose, is to make more women financially independent and empowered in their business. I'm kind of digressing now. Can't think where that thought process was taking me, but I think essentially, like, if we only knew how powerful we were and we could master the art of reflection, then the world wouldn't be so cookie cutter at times. You look on Instagram and every coach is talking about the same thing. A lot of business owners are selling the same products. It's like, ugh, already, like, we need to step out as our own people, and that only comes from our own voice, our own brand, with our own values, with our own missions. And that only comes from being uniquely ourselves and by tapping into what it truly is that drives us, what lights us up. I believe as spiritual beings that we all have our own soul's contract when we come to this earth. We've all got our own reason to be here, and our own light to share with the world. So we need to stop trying to be like everybody else. And when I work with clients that I feel are particularly, approaching burnout, overwhelm, all of those things, it's because they're trying to do something that just isn't in their zone of genius. It isn't what their natural skills and abilities and talents are actually afforded to. So maybe they're trying to launch a YouTube channel, but they hate to be on camera and they're a complete introvert. And it's like, why are we doing this if it feels like torture to you? Your business should be fun, it should be expansive and exciting. And it's because they feel like they should be doing those things because other people in their space are doing it. And as a business coach, I can't endorse that. I can't be here to support you to go all in on strategies that just don't fit with your personal strengths and ambitions and skills and all of these great things. So when I moved into coaching, I always said that I would instead find ways to allow women to essentially shine and stay in their zone of genius. So if you kind of feel like you've been running a race this year so far that just isn't feeling good right now, or isn't giving you the results right now that you feel that you should be getting, then perhaps this is your time to really sit and do nothing, and to just take that CEO approach to your business, and just allow yourself instead to really lean into what it is that, why are we here? Like, why are we doing this thing? What does it mean to us? What does it represent? What would feel really good right now if you could just do, what's that one thing in your business you're like, oh, if I don't need to do this would just be so much more fun, or if I could just do that would be amazing. And then insert excuse here as to why you can't. Because again, a lot of the time my clients are like, oh, if I could just do like a luxury VIP retreat, that would be amazing. Like, that would be so exciting. That would be so amazing. Um, but I'm not experienced enough. But I don't have clients that will pay those sorts of prices. But I don't have enough of an audience. But I don't. And the reality is, you know, the people that are doing those things didn't have it at some point, but they just gave themselves permission to go all in anyway, and they manifested it essentially. Those clients will find you when you start to align yourself with what it is that you truly want to do. When you are misaligned with what it is that you're selling, energetically, it's not attractive to other people around you. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that you attract what it is that you let into your life. And if you are ready to, to radically change your business even right now, to take it in a completely different direction, like, and you commit to that and you go all in and it's coming from the heart, then the universe will meet you halfway, and they will absolutely send you clients that you will be speaking to their soul and you will draw them in. So do not worry about that. So a lot of the time as well, I think there's a lot of practical issues that come up as to why we don't give ourselves permission to take off. First of all, it's a smart business move as a CEO, as a woman in business, to be able to remove yourself from your business every now and again, because it really gives you that strategic overview. So even when it comes down to scheduling your social media, rather than then putting the focus on every day I've got to post, I've got to find hashtags, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, instead you're putting it out there with much more intention and purpose, creating the content whilst you're in alignment and flow, because you'll be doing it, batching it in one go. But also it means that you can step back, and instead of focusing on the doing and the creating, you can actually look at the evaluation instead, like looking at the insights, what's worked well, what hasn't, what's really resonating, what isn't, what's getting great engagement, what's converting, what isn't. And that's a much more powerful place to be running your business as a business, when you're a woman in business, essentially. So you should actively be looking for those opportunities to remove yourself from your business periodically anyway. I think men have always been really good at this, and women are just horrible at it. We feel like we need to be, and we almost wear it with a badge of honor, like how much we can multitask, how many competing and conflicting priorities that we can cope with in a day, how much crap we can take and still get our kids to school on time. Like, what? But we wear it with a badge of honor. Like, how many birthdays can we remember better than other people? How many useless facts can we recite, and how many school and meals can we prep? Like, all of these things. So, but men, however, they've already cottoned on to the fact that you need to be able to rest and recharge as a business leader. So even like Steve Jobs really bought into the power of decision fatigue. So essentially, you can make so many decisions in a day that your brain becomes completely fatigued. And particularly as a woman, when you consider how many conflicting expectations we have as a woman from society, from our peers, from our children, from our, all of the many hats that we wear as women in today's day and age, but also, all of the things around us as well. So if you think about how many conflicting priorities and expectations that are placed on us, and then versus a man who literally goes to work. When he's at work, he's at work. When he's at home, he's at home. Like, it's so much easier. But even Steve Jobs realized that at some point your brain will become fatigued with having to make so many decisions. This is why planning your day out in advance is so important. It's why we create habits to try and reduce some of the energy that goes to making those decisions, and things start to go onto autopilot. It's why we repeat cycles. So I'm now talking about like neuroscience and NLP and all of those great things. But he actually wore the same outfit every day to work to reduce to eliminate essentially one less decision that he needed to make each day, which was, what am I going to wear? So that he could go to work and be a better leader, essentially, and know that he's instead put that brain into running a massive corporation, which was Apple. So, you know, men have been doing this for generations. That's why they have like retreats and boys clubs and golfing, and more happens on the golf course than it does in the office, like all of these things. And it's so important that you understand that it's okay to take that time off, particularly when things are going wrong, because that's when you go into panic mode, that's when you go into fear mode, and you just get busy firefighting, you know, trying to do things that don't feel good just to try and get some sort of result. And it really is like pushing water up a hill. So I would love to encourage you instead, whether you're going on holiday or not, whether you have children or not, but really spend this spring holiday. So it's around like 2 weeks in the UK. I don't know what that is in the US, sorry. To really take a moment to just scale back. So even if you're a moonology believer around how our bodies regulate the energies of the moon, I think it's the waning moon. I'm not actually sure it's the waning or the waxing moon. I'm not sure, but there'll be certain parts of the moon cycle where you are encouraged to do less, and that is so that you can come back stronger. And my experience has always been, always, whenever I have taken a moment off or a moment to myself to really reflect on what I'm doing, I always come back and then quantum leap my success going forwards. So I'm sure, you know, the most relevant example for a lot of us right now, sorry, just bang something, is the pandemic. So prior to that, I was still very much, you know, I was coaching, but 90% of my business was still physical businesses. So I had like a barbershop, a hair salon, I had a tattoo studio, I had some online businesses as well. But a lot of things that required my personal energy and needed me to be there. Coming out of corporate, this was like amazing for me because I needed to be busy to feel like I was in control. And I almost, like I said earlier, made it a job in itself. So that kind of fed all of those insecurities that I had, that I needed to be busy and hustling and boss babe and all of these things. When the pandemic hit though, and suddenly I couldn't do those things anymore, and there wasn't anywhere that I needed to be. This was like the first time in my life I've been, you know, I'm a person that wasn't, you know, didn't have a particularly great childhood, you know, didn't live with my parents. You know, my dad passed away, my mum, I didn't live with her from a really young age. So I was always financially independent from like 14, had a mortgage at 18, was working 3 jobs from like 16, never even got to go to college until later in life when I paid for it myself when I was pregnant and I was in my corporate setting. So my whole identity had become just the fact that I could do more than anybody else, and it's almost like I wore it with as a badge of honor. And I think I am that person that anything I do in life, I always do it bigger, louder, bolder than most people. Like if I'm going to have kids, I won't just have one, I'll have 5. If I'm going to have a business, I won't just have one, I'll have 6. You know, that's kind of always been my personality, and it became part of my identity. Stripped that all away during a pandemic, and oh my god, I did not know what to do with myself. It was like the first time where I didn't need to be anywhere, where there was nobody chasing me, nobody that I was responsible for, and I didn't have that nagging like, oh, I should be doing something in the back of my head. And it was so nice to really like reconnect with myself, with my children. And that's when I decided actually that I was going to go all in on coaching and actually put my physical businesses on the back burner. So 90% of those have now sold or been moved on. And I can just focus on coaching and delivery for my clients, and it feels so much better to me. And I'm doing less than I've ever done in my whole life, but the impact that I have is so much more. The joy that I have is like a million times more, and the clients that I'm drawing in are just lovely. Like everything is just next level fantastic because I'm doing a lot less. But it wasn't, I don't know, and I do wonder sometimes, like if it wasn't for the pandemic, and I'm so sorry for the people that obviously had a really bad time during that time, but for me, you know, I had a bit of a challenging time in the sense that, you know, just trying to shop for 7 people was an absolute nightmare. You couldn't get a hold of anything. Obviously, you know, there were certain elements of my business that I actually lost because of the pandemic, and that was, you know, a worry. But I think it wasn't until I truly surrendered, and obviously I was very sick during the pandemic, had to have the baby early. So yeah, so I didn't, get through COVID completely unscathed, but equally, perspective and gratitude is a great thing for me, and it's really made me still see it as such a blessing. Um, so yeah, so I think I can't remember what I was going to say then. I've completely lost my thought again. God, it's a nightmare, isn't it, when you're not quite feeling 100%? And really, I shouldn't be recording today, but I just felt inspired to kind of share this because I knew a lot of women in my community would be really having that dilemma right now about how to take time off in their business and whether they should, and and you're going to see loads of beautiful holiday pictures on Instagram, and it's probably going to trigger you and all of these things. So let's get down to like practical solutions. If you are thinking, okay, I want to retreat, I want to pull back, I want to do less over this next couple of weeks, because I am now bought in to the fact that if I do less, it means that I can come back bigger and stronger than ever. And that's always been my reality. So sorry, I think that's where I was going before. But obviously you got the gist. Obviously, I took that time off during the pandemic, really reflected on what lights me up. I'm nearly 40. What do I want to be known for? How do I want to build a legacy as opposed to just be a busy business owner forevermore? And that's where I really decided to go all in on my coaching. And then obviously now again on my six-figure sisterhood mastermind that I'll be launching, it's about how can I impact at a higher level without doing all the things. And this is essentially like what that means for me. I'd love to know what that means for you. But from a practical sense, I still have 5 children, and I still have businesses, and I still have clients, and I still have lots of things. So for me, this is where delegation, automation, and elimination really comes into play to allow you to have that time off. So delegation is around building a team of people that you can lean on to really keep you in your zone of genius. So things that really truly light you up and that you do really bloody well that nobody else can do but you. And then it's understanding the things that don't actually need to be you, that don't light you up, that you actually take forever and a day to do. So it's almost like a false economy in trying to do it yourself, i.e. like copywriting or social media posts or, nurturing a community on Facebook, if you've got a Facebook group. What are the parts of your business that you like, admin in the background, all of those things that aren't high value tasks that don't really need to be you? What can you delegate right now in your business that will free you up to have a moment of reflection, to really look at your plans to date for this year and then going forwards to see what feels good for you? Automation is fantastic. So I recently invested in Kajabi, which I'm absolutely obsessed with, and I'm using it for all of my clients now that are using the Done With You service, because it's just really fantastic. It really enables us to map out the customer journey and then to throw it on an automation, so to build funnels. So it's great for the customer because they have a really thought out journey with each of my clients, with lots of different solutions offered to them at the right time. It feels good. It enables my clients to step back and to not be thinking so much about, somebody's just signed up for my lead magnet, what do I need to do next? It's all taken care of, and they know that it doesn't rely on them to do it. So that's really good as well. And then the last thing is elimination. So what are you actually doing right now over the next couple of weeks that doesn't need to be done, that you are either doing because you feel that you need to, or have always done it, so you feel like you've got to keep doing it? The stuff that you're doing in your business that are not converting and you've been doing it for a while, there's got to be a reason, and it's typically something energetic underneath that it is not converting. Because where energy flows, focus goes. So if you've been doing something for a while and it's either like a strategy piece, so if it's your social media, it isn't growing, or you're not getting any interest on the stuff that you're putting out, something is misaligned. And I'd love to invite you to really be honest and nail down what it is. And if it's that I'm only doing it because I feel like I should be, then not really, because it's my heart and soul and I pour into it and I absolutely love it and it lights me up, then that's probably why it's not converting. And it's better to just let it go and circle back to it when you do have more capacity. So equally, what I would love to get you to do over the next couple of weeks is energetically just continuing on from that clear out, like what can you do at home that would really set you up for success after that 2 weeks? Is there like, is it your office? Do you need to redecorate? Do you need to completely clear out the kitchen and start again? Because when you then come back in 2 weeks and get back into work mode, um, you know, is it going to feel so much better? Is it going to set you and your family up for more success? Is it going to energetically create space to welcome in new abundance? Like all of those great things. So that was kind of my episode today that I wanted to share with you to really help encourage you to take some time off, and really rest, recharge, realign, re-energize, refocus, like all of the R's, so that you can come back even stronger in the second quarter of the year. So I hope you found this episode useful. Hope you have a fantastic Easter and a great 2 weeks off. And obviously, if there's anything you'd like to share with me, you can find me over on Instagram. It's the Femalpreneur Coach. If you would like details of that mastermind that I'm currently percolating and working on right now, then just drop into my DMs. You are more than welcome, and with the word mastermind, and I will send you a voice note. We can have a chat and see if it's like the right next move for you in terms of like the evolution on your business journey. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope you have a fantastic Easter. Thank you. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.